Hi, I'm Hailey Tuck, and welcome to the Blues Kitchen.
Hailey Tuck is a jazz singer from Austin, Texas. In her late teens, Hailey moved to Paris with little more than a suitcase full of vintage dresses and the dream of becoming a jazz singer. Now, on a mission to turn jazz on its head, Hailey discusses her new record, Junk, released in May of this year, and she performs a version of Joni Mitchell's Cactus Tree. And while you're watching, subscribe to the channel for weekly episodes of The Blues Kitchen Presents. Hailey,
Hello!
welcome, very formal, handshake, something like that. Welcome to The Blues Kitchen.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm great. I'm kind of in a whirlwind of exciting stuff. It's one exciting. I wish I could spread out the exciting stuff more a bit, so I'd have a little more time to be excited about it before something else is cool. But that's a good problem to have.
Well, lots for us to talk about. But you did play in London last night, didn't you?
Yes, I played Rich Mix. I wanted to do a hip jazz opening.
And it was your album launch, right?
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Well, it was cool. It was definitely I'm really interested in seeing if you can take jazz and kind of do it in a slightly different setting than how you're usually seeing it in small kind of cabaret seeming venues. And so I was excited to try out Shoreditch and see what happened with it.
Do you think that jazz is sometimes considered almost like the Formula One? You know, rock and roll is kind of like the oix version. You know, maybe blues is a kind of simplified version. But jazz often gets its kind of highbrow Formula One of music full stop. Everyone's aiming towards being that good.
I think jazz musicians would love to
hear that.
Yeah. I mean, I only, whenever I hear that, I literally thought of instantly so many people I've played with and been around, because that drives me nuts a bit about jazz, because it's really gone in this direction that's extremely exclusive rather than inclusive, whereas that's 100% not where it came from. And then also, you have so many, I've had problems in the past getting booked at jazz festivals, even though what I 100% is 1,000,000%, coming from jazz, but as a singer, a lot of promoters are like, oh, we already have one singer, nobody needs two singers or whatever, because somehow that's considered kind of, I don't know, not as intense as this really cerebral, Scandinavian whatever. And so I think in a way you're right, but I also think that's what's killing it. It's a rot on the vine a little bit, that kind of mindset.
That's a very interesting way of looking at it, yeah. Let's talk about your album.
Yeah.
Junk. So normally when we sit down and do these interviews and sessions, someone's picked out one tune that they're going to cover. But you've actually done an album which is like 80% covers, and you've got McCartney, you've got Leonard Cohen, Joni Mitchell, which you're going to perform for us in a short while, and Solomon Burke. I'm intrigued to know a couple of things, really. One is, how did you pick the tunes you were going to do? And how have you made them your own? Because obviously, you've made a jazz album, essentially. How have you taken those songs and Hailey Tucked them?
The second you were saying that, I was like, I still was thinking, and stupidly then put two originals next to all those people. But I think that was kind of the point. The producer, Larry Klein, who's Joni Mitchell's ex-husband, and he did Tracy Chapman, Joni Mitchell, obviously, Madeleine Peru, Melly Gardot. He really encouraged me not to be too obsessed with trying to put originals next to covers like that, because obviously in jazz it's the tradition that you're harkening back to something before you, and kind of paying homage to people who've come before you, and even though I kind of went a little bit off of not exactly doing like all jazz standards and things, because I think that's not even what Duke Ellington was doing, really. So that was nice, because already he said, don't do it. A bunch of jazz musicians ruin their careers by doing that, by becoming obsessed with this idea of making their own music. And he's like, you're still young, at least in his eyes. And and he's like, you're developing more as a writer. Just focus on getting 2 good songs. Next album, if you want to do 3, but you don't need to do 6 songs and then stick that next to a Leonard Cohen song.
Yeah.
It's not going to go well for you. And we picked the songs we started. I got Larry Klein's email from basically literally picking up CDs and looking at the back, because I was like, who's produced? There's got to be like a Mark Ronson of jazz.
Yeah, I read that you were looking for the Mark Ronson of jazz.
Well, because I realized like there's so few, usually only like music dorks know names of producers, but almost everybody knows Mark Ronson's name. And obviously, like my dream career would be Madeline Peru's career. I think she's cool, she's nice, she has great music. We both clearly have been checking out a lot of Billie Holiday. So when I found out that was producing her, and then Melody Gardot, I think is like, I mean, I don't know if you've seen her new album cover of her like naked on a stage. I mean, she
Right,
looks.
I haven't seen that, no.
Looks killing. But also, so clearly both of them have consciously kind of tried to break a little bit away from the traditional jazz, path. And then when I went to his Wikipedia and saw Tracy Chapman and Bonnie Raitt, I mean, just a real array, the Eagles, to finally name a guy. I thought
That's nice. Normally it goes the other way, doesn't it?
I know, right? And he was really close friends with Leonard Cohen also. So he's had this kind of insane musical life and come from this like really cool place, and clearly has like a real like knack for female voices. And so I emailed him and gave him whatever my like jazz manifesto and sent him some music, and he was like, oh, this is cool, if you're ever in LA you should look me up. And I flew instantly to LA
on the plane.
And yeah, literally instantly to LA, and I was like, knock, 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 knock. Hello, you said if I was in LA, look you up. And we had a meeting and just instantly connected. I like every single thing he said, I was like, wow, actually I have something cool to say on this subject for once. Like I didn't have to sell myself at all. And he worked for about 6 months with me exchanging emails. And I don't actually think any of the songs we ended up recording were in either of our original pitches to each other. I'd like to look back and see actually.
So how long was it from when you first got that dialogue going on email to when you actually end up in Sunset Sound to record the album? That must have been an exciting time, walking through the doors of Sunset for the first time.
Oh, nerve-wracking. I didn't realize how nervous I'd be. I'm excited for the next album because there's a lot of things I'll do differently. Mostly not have like a nervous breakdown in Sunset Sound. But it was maybe 9 months.
Amazing. On the album, I particularly I was listening again last night actually, the cover of Underwear by Pulp. Such a good choice.
Thank you. That was my one, so I'm glad. Brilliant. That's my favorite one. That's like
is it?
Yeah, that's like my baby on the album.
If Jarvis hears that, which I'm sure at some point he has, or maybe has already, no fingers crossed.
Not yet.
I think he will wildly appreciate what you've done with that as well. I think it will make a lot of sense to him.
Ray Davies heard my Kinks cover.
Oh, really?
And liked it. But I was like, that doth not a quote make. I need more from you, Ray.
Well, I think it's probably time for you to do a performance. So just before we get to that, you're going to do Cactus by Joni Mitchell.
Cactus Tree, yeah.
Cactus Tree, sorry. So why that song? Of all the Joni Mitchell tunes you could have chosen, why is that the one you picked out?
Larry, actually, I had to really be talked into doing a Joni Mitchell song.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I was like, I'm not going to sing a Joni Mitchell song in front of you. That's crazy. 2, I was really worried that people would think that I was trying to make a statement by doing a Joni Mitchell song with Joni Mitchell's ex-husband and producer, which is not in any way a statement that I would ever want to make. And I talked to Larry about it, and I was like, Larry, I don't know if anybody needs to hear a Joni Mitchell cover ever, really. I mean, it's kind of, you could even just hear you could read through lyrics and probably guess it was a Joni Mitchell song. It's just such a specific thing that I couldn't really understand how you'd redo it. But then he said, Hailey, you're such a storyteller, which I think is kind of just a nice way of saying, like, I never shut the up. But he was like, I really think that this is missing on the album, and I really want to hear you do this. And this was a song that I didn't think, got its complete due at the time it came out. And so he talked me into it, and now I really love it. So
was it a latecomer to the album? Was it one of the last things you recorded?
Yeah, it was, and it was really difficult. It's almost like jazz rapping. Like if you mess up on a section,
the whole flow's gone.
Yeah. And so at the time when we were recording it, I mean, he's really supportive as a producer. He's very he makes you feel like you're doing really great. I mean, when I looked back afterwards, I was like, I was doing a terrible job. How did he ever talk me into feeling so good about that? But he also is good at getting it out of you. So even on like the 40th take or whatever, he's still like, that was even better than the last one. I can't wait to hear you. Yeah, can't wait to hear you try that one more time, And so it was one of the hardest ones to record, but now it's one of my favorites. So
fantastic.
Shows what I know.
perhaps you'd be kind enough to introduce your tune then.
Yes.
That's okay.
I'm Hailey Tuck, and this will be Cactus Tree for Blues Kitchen. There's a man who's been out sailing in a decade full of dreams, and he takes her to his schooner, and he treats her like a queen, bearing beads from California with their amber stones and green. He has called her from the harbor, he has kissed her with his freedom. He has heard her off to starboard in the breaking and the breathing of the water waves, while she was busy being free. There's a man who's climbed a mountain, he's calling out her name, and he hopes her heart can hear 3,000 miles. He calls again, he can think her there beside him, he can miss her just the same. He has missed her in the forest while he showed her all the flowers, and the branches sang the chorus while he climbed the scaly towers of a forest tree, while she was somewhere being free. There's a man who sent a letter, he's waiting for reply. He has asked her of her travels since the day they said goodbye. He writes, wish you were beside me, we can make it if we try. He has seen her at the office with her name on all his papers. Through the sharing of the profits, he will find it hard to shake her from his memory, while she's so busy being free. There's a lady in the city, and she thinks she loves them all. There's the one who's thinking of her, there's the one who sometimes calls, there's the one who writes her letters with his facts and figures scrawled. She has brought them to her senses, they have laughed inside her laughter. Now she rallies her defenses, for she fears that one will ask her for eternity, and she's so busy being free. There's a man who sends her medals, he is bleeding from the war. There's a jouster and a jester, and the one who owns a store. There's a drummer and a dreamer, and you know there may be more. She will love them when she sees them, they will lose her if they follow, and she only means to please them, but her heart is full and hollow like a cactus tree, while she's so busy being free, like a cactus tree, being free.
Thank you.